Good morning, everybody. For Coffee Chat, I think this is the first multi-stream that we're doing, so a little bit of extra work up front, streaming to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. That's why it needs a little bit more prep. Just a little behind-the-scenes thing on that. At least as far as I know, the only way to really be able to add tags and add info to the live stream to YouTube is to have it already up and running. So I basically just decided to go live about 15-20 minutes before I start, usually when I'm doing all the show prep stuff, figuring out what stories we're going to be looking at, changing stream dates, titles, stuff like that. Yeah, all that stuff I'm just going to kind of, that'll be on the live stream, but it is not on the main recording. So, and hold on one second, I might have forgot to change this to, let me switch our genre here. We're not World of Warcraft right now, we are at just chatting for YouTube. Yeah, quite a few extra steps, so there's bound to be some mishaps, bound to be some mistakes like we do very, very frequently here. Luckily, recently our chat has been catching us quite a bit. There's been a few times where I haven't had audio or something was off. I forgot to change the transition or something, and chat let us know. So yeah, happy to have them around. Another pretty decent day, I'd say. It does look a little cloudy out there. I've got quite a few things to do today. Me and Yuki both have dentist appointments. She just got her wisdom teeth pulled, but not a follow-up for that, just like a normal run-of-the-mill dentist appointment. And I've got one right after her. But I also have a chat with a local game company here this afternoon too, so I've got to be ready for that. So that means I'm going to get Coffee Chat done now, and then maybe later tonight we'll actually get on and stream some games. Let me get our music down a little bit more there, just so it's not too overpowering. Still haven't gotten around to generating some new tracks for the shows. It's on the list of things to do, and the list is pretty big, believe it or not. Come on into the studio here. It's a mess as always. Good thing is Yuki's been helping me out quite a bit with this type of stuff. Not only is she now taken over my my social media accounts for the channel, they had kind of just stayed. I created them all right when I first started, and then just really didn't touch them. Did not really do anything with them. But she's really good at building that stuff and getting followers. She's been following a lot of other game creators and people that might be interested in the show. So she's been, I think she's, let's see, what has she got us up to now? I was at, I think 1 follower when I left off. So she's kind of taken it from there. Let's see where we're at now. Oh wow, yeah, she has us, so she's got us at 6 posts now, and she's got us at 67 followers, which is really cool. We're still figuring out the, here, I'll show you. This is some of the shorts that she's been upping. I'm not really a shorts guy, I don't really know how to make shorts, but Winnie the Steve came on our stream the other night and was causing chaos, stealing drinks and stuff, so she's been making some cool shorts. Only thing we have to be careful of is, like, YouTube is very strict about the copywritten music, so I don't know if the shorts she's made so far, if they, I know one of them had some Bruno Mars in it, so definitely we can't use that, or otherwise, I'm not too worried about the lack of monetization on them, because it's just a short, really, but if it did get, like, you know, content IDs are one thing, just saying, hey, we see you used our songs, we may want to monetize it ourselves, that's one thing. I'd probably be okay with that on shorts if it had some cool music that's good for the channel, but I think they also have the ability to just straight copyright strike you, and if you get 3 strikes, your channel is just gone, which I've heard some horror stories of people that have had their stuff removed. So yeah, I don't even want to play with that, so we're gonna figure out a way. Either we're gonna use the built-in YouTube Shorts audio library. I haven't taken a look at it to see what's on there, but either that or we'll just generate some of our own with Suno. It seems to be the safest thing to do, which sucks because, you know, like, there's a lot of cool creators out there that I'd like to use their tracks because, you know, in my time, when I'm just hanging out in the studio, I listen to a lot of music on YouTube and enjoy it. It would probably be a pretty good match for my stream, but if there's any content ID claims or anything like that, it's just, in my opinion, safer to not deal with it. So yeah, that's what we're going to continue to do. As I said, she has been helping me get organized, and I'm still in the process of filling this out. She created this for me yesterday, just to kind of let me see exactly what work is remaining right now and what still has to be done. So yeah, like, just kind of taking an estimate of like how many hours it's going to take to get the episodes that are already filmed up. I need to get current with everything, so I film an episode and I upload it right away. I've got that with a couple series so far, but I need to get it with all of these too. But it looks like I need to spend about 11 hours of time to get caught up on that, so I'm gonna have to figure out where that fits into the schedule this week and just sit down and do it. I do have a few things that are blocked by not having thumbnail art. Some of this one here has no art at all. We did do a raid the other day for the first time in World of Warcraft. One of our Twitch or YouTube, I can't remember, we were streaming to both, but one of our viewers invited us to a raid, and we got to see Aldor for the first time for the Wrath of the Lich King. That was really cool. I don't think I was very helpful to the raid, but it was fun nonetheless, and we got some good footage of that. So I'd like to get that up to YouTube too, but it's kind of in a new category. I've decided to make a raid category and a raid playlist on my feed, and then also a dungeon one, just so it's kind of different. Like, when you're playing with other people and on raids and stuff, sometimes they just steamroll everything, and like the content is not super interesting. So I kind of want to pull those sections out of my normal World of Warcraft series, just because it's probably, you know, not super interesting. I'll probably just when I'm headed into one of those, I'll just verbally say something during the playthrough of like, hey, we're gonna jump into a 5-man here, find it on the dungeon playlist. If you want to skip forward back to questing, we'll just continue on with the next episode in the series. Something like that. But yeah, I've got quite a bit more I need to add to this list. There's a lot of stuff. I need to create a bunch of channel art. I need to create a bunch of thumbnails. I have to do some OBS overlays. I have to learn how to use Adobe Premiere. That's going to be a big one. And yeah, quite a few other things. So I think it was getting a little bit overwhelming for me just trying to manage it all in my head. She suggested that we get it down on paper, which is a good idea. She, like I said many times on stream, she's a lot smarter than I am. She has been taking more part in our streams too. We've started multi-streaming, and what that means is also this episode of Coffee Chat is right after the show finishes. It is available for rewatch now, where you wouldn't even actually be seeing this episode of Coffee Chat on YouTube right now if we weren't doing the multi-stream, just because, as you can see on the list here, I am behind on them. Coffee Chats are not too bad. I think, let's see, where are we? Coffee Chat. Yeah, if I have 1 hour, I can catch up to the current one, but that also means dropping 4 episodes of Coffee Chat all on the same day. And when I do that, they just don't do very good. Yeah. Dang, I was just laying down for bed. Love the vids, man. Keep them up. Thank you to both of you. The dang part, I hope I didn't disturb your sleep there. Yeah, you actually, this will be on record, so feel free to go ahead and get that rest. Rest is important, Mr. Wolf. So yeah, I'm only going to be online here for probably about 30 or 40 minutes. This is, I don't know if you've seen this one live before, Mr. Wolf. Mr. Wolf joins some of our World of Warcraft streams at nighttime. This is just my game dev centric show where we talk about all the good news and recently mostly the bad news in the industry. Fortunately, more bad news today. I was pretty infuriated when I heard some of the stories today, but we're going to get into that in a minute. But yeah, quite a bit to do. She's helping me organize that. She's taking care of my shorts now. So yeah, I think it's going to be really good for the channel. I need the help for sure. I don't have money to hire anybody. Oh, look at that. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but yeah, it's hard to see on camera, but we are just starting to get some more snow now. Yeah, there it goes a little bit. Little flakes of snow starting to fall again. I cannot figure out the weather. It got pretty decently, I wouldn't say warm, but just like nice outside where you didn't really need a big jacket or anything last week, and now it's back to like I woke up this morning and it was pretty white outside, but it's since melted. But yeah, I am still I'm still trying to fight off the extra weight that I put on the last 2 months of being injured from tennis. So I think I'm gonna I was at three lessons a week this week, but I think I'm gonna up it to 4. I'm gonna add another one in. I got on the scale this morning and it was pretty depressing. I need to do something about it. Too many Starbucks runs, too much good food. So I'm not going to be playing outside in the snow though. That's one thing I won't do. I'll go ahead and take a lesson indoors tonight at the tennis academy that's just off screen here. But yeah, let's get into the gaming news. It's not very good news today, like I said. Kind of annoying, really. A company that I used to work for. I've been pretty quiet about it. I've talked about it a little bit here and there on stream, but haven't gone into too much detail. But they just seem to keep on going after the headlines here. Let's see. Let's get to the right one. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have seen this, but let me get in full screen here. So yeah, I actually got alerted to this by a friend of mine last night. He's actually not a game dev. He does a lot of different art. He's really into Marvel and stuff. He's a real life friend from. Oh wow, it is really starting to come down out there. Yeah, it's always harder to see it on the camera, but yeah, it's starting to snow a little bit, which is cool. I like catching that on stream. But yeah, he's a buddy of mine from back in high school, and we used to work at GameStop together. If you watched our episode, How I Got Fired from GameStop episode, which is a really interesting one, I would suggest going back and finding that one on YouTube, because it's a pretty funny story about me refusing to cover for somebody's shift and getting my internet appointment instead, and getting cable, which was a big deal at the time, getting cable internet speeds for my very first PC. And then, yeah, it's a funny story. Check it out. But he was the guy I mentioned that had his own Japanese Dreamcast, and he used to record Japanese footage of Shenmue for us and put it on the store TV. But he hit me up last night. He's in America still, so he's in American time, and he was sending me some of this, and I was like, oh, well, we know what we're talking about tomorrow. So Marvel Rivals director and others laid off just months after the hero shooter took over the charts. NetEase's Overwatch-like has been a hit across PS5 and Steam. And yeah, Marvel Rivals has really blown up. So as you guys probably know, I did work for NetEase. I would say my last big job where I was in control of quite a bit was at NetEase. I was acting as environment director there for a unreleased AAA project that they had in the works. I don't know these days. I've not kept in touch with. Well, there's really nobody left to keep in touch with, and that's the whole thing. I was at Ubisoft for 3 years. I was senior art lead on Xdefiant, which also did not do too great with being a live service game, and just kind of a little bit of a whiff. I think it had some good stuff in it, but it did not not enough to really save Ubisoft. They've been kind of getting ready for a sale to Tencent, I think. So Xdefiant bit the dust. I did not have information that the studio was going under. I just got an offer I couldn't refuse from NetEase. They were paying a lot more than, I mean, when I say a lot, I mean like double a lot more than other companies like Ubisoft in Japan. So for me, I just felt like it was an opportunity that I had to take. I had to give it a try because, you know, it's can be really impactful for me and Yuki to have that type of an income boost, and it really was. It was a great income boost, and that's about where it ended. There were not a whole lot of positives while I was at NetEase. So I was one of my issues, which I can talk about a little bit now because Ubisoft Osaka no longer exists. It was shuttered about a month ago now. But one of my big gripes with Ubisoft, well, not at the executive level, but we'll say leadership for Xdefiant and leadership in the Osaka studio was I really felt like our salaries were just far too low for even the Japanese market. America, you're always going to be making quite a bit more. Japan is far lower than America. I took a huge pay cut when I came to Japan, but you know, it was kind of counterbalanced by having more stability with your work. At least at the time, it was more stable here. Labor laws are much better here. They have to have a real reason to lay you off, or they can't lay you off by law. They have to kind of prove that it's necessary. Like they've tried everything they can to make a financial plan that will work, and that, you know, just to avoid laying off large groups of people. And it's I was the senior art lead, and one of my main jobs was kind of getting the Japanese artists we had working for us up to speed on modern AAA techniques. So they had come from the last game that they had made was South Park Stick of Truth, or it might have been the sequel. Can't remember the name, the superhero one. They had worked on that, which was primarily a 2D game. And then also Rocksmith, which also doesn't really have very much 3D art in it. It's mainly effects and things like that on the screen for the UI. It took about 3 years, but we got a really awesome team put together there. We added in a couple people that had really big experience on games like God of War, a lot of Call of Duty people, and we kind of cross-pollinated all that knowledge from AAA development. And the Japanese employees that I had, they worked so much harder than a lot of people I know in America. Their work ethic is just insane. They always want to get better. They take feedback really well. Really great group of people to work with. And it was a long process to train them up. And I was just kind of seeing a revolving door of people coming in, not being able to make the salary work because it's just not enough. It's not even up to what other Japanese companies in the area were paying, and I really fought hard to try to get that changed, and I just didn't get much traction. I was able to get people promotions as far as titles, but when it came to actual salaries, the pay bumps that they got were just very minimal. And for me, that was kind of the last straw. When the NetEase offer came in, I just decided that I need to take this. So went ahead and took that. What was promised to me was very different from what I got with NetEase. I specifically, when I got to the higher level interviews, I took about 3 or 4 interviews with them, but when I got to the higher level interviews, I made it a point to explain the current situation at Ubisoft and how it was getting really, I don't know if sad is probably the best word to put it. A lot of these interviews were conducted in Japanese, so because they were looking for somebody to head up their Japanese stuff. So I'm kind of translating it to English in my mind here, but I was really looking to avoid the situation of having a revolving door of employees, us training them up, them becoming rock stars, and then right away taking a job somewhere else. And I wanted their guarantee, and I was talking to some pretty high up executives that were running all of basically Asia for development in NetEase, which Marvel Rivals doesn't really fall into. It looks like they were mainly US based, and then of course they had help from the team in China. I think they're in Guangzhou. I think that's how you say it. They have a bunch of offices there, but yeah. So I kind of brought that up, and they seemed very genuine with me. They really wanted to make an investment in Japan. They were really serious about getting top tier talent, and they were kind of frank that like, hey, you know, we're primarily a mobile studio. We don't really know everything we need to know when it comes to AAA games, and that's what we're trying to make. We're trying to make a few different AAA games with different studios, Japanese studios, where they had kind of plucked somebody out of places like Capcom and Konami, other places like that, and given them their own studio basically, and then they were supposed to kind of let those guys take over and then kind of step out of the way and not interfere too much. And that's how it was pitched to me. So with their promise and just kind of taking them at their word, I went ahead and took it. There was problems from the beginning though. During the interview process, I had made it clear to them that I cannot move from Osaka. I can only work in Osaka because you know, I have a house here. I have Yuki was in school still. You know, she can't move to Tokyo, and we're not uprooting ourselves and moving to Tokyo. So one of the hiring conditions has to be that I'm allowed to continue to work from Osaka, and this was across multiple interviews. I basically every single interview I had, I made that very clear that I cannot move to Tokyo. If this is a Tokyo-based job, then I have to take myself out of the running for it. But they assured me that it would not be a problem in verbally and in writing, at least across emails. And so the interviews proceeded, and things were going good. I gave them a number of what I was looking for based off of previous employment in America, not in Japan. I told them the situation that I wasn't satisfied with what the salaries were at Ubisoft. I wanted to make something akin to what I was making back in the States as a developer. And they not only gave me that, they gave me a little bit more, which was, you know, another thing that made me feel like they were genuine. I don't know if that was baked into it all, and that was kind of like the plan. But yeah, they basically lured me in, and so I signed with them. And literally the day after signing them with them, and you know, also I had to time this with Ubisoft because I was a senior art lead and senior art lead at Ubisoft was a lot of things. It was an environment art direction role for Xdefiant, all the different maps that we were doing. I'm an environment artist by trade, so that was where I was really putting the energy into, but also I was managing character, I was managing concept art, tech art, animation, lighting, just anything under the art umbrella. I was the go-to guy for that. I had to, you know, take care of people's career growth, do one-on-ones, basically be in every single meeting that any of those people were with the San Francisco, because it was like working together with San Francisco studios, so a lot of meetings across the you know what, let's get an outside view here while I talk, because it's looking really cool out there. It's really starting to come down. But yeah, so I had a lot on my plate at Ubisoft, and leaving there meant a lot of people were going to be kind of left out to dry, because we still were in the middle of training some people. they were a really competent team by the time I left. I got some really good people that came in. Ryan Peterson was one of them. Nick Comey was one. Just superstars within the AAA industry from Call of Duty, and both of them were on Call of Duty. Nick was also on God of War, so really people that were open to teach as well. So we had really built a solid foundation, and we came to a point where we were cranking out multiplayer maps faster and at a higher quality than the main studio was. And we were just starting to get recognized for that. So I needed to let them know early enough that I was going to be moving to NetEase, and kind of pass the torch in a good way. So things would be hopefully smooth after I left. As we know now, they were not smooth. The studio is now shut down, so that really sucks. But so I made the move to NetEase, and on the day after I had notified Ubisoft that I would no longer be with them, I gave them in Japan you have to give at least a month's notice, but it's better to give 2 months. So I ended up giving a 2-month notice to tie everything up. Gave my notice, and then I got an email from NetEase very next day saying, okay, so when are you moving to Tokyo? And it was like, wait, what are you talking about? I thought I was reading this wrong. So I really quickly got on a call with them. I had an agent at the time, basically somebody who was helping me to set up the interviews and do appointments for finding work in Japan. And me and my agent got on the phone with them. My agent as well backed me up and said, you guys have said multiple times that he can work in Osaka. And they really fought me on it. It turned into a whole thing. We had to have multiple calls. I came really close to just not signing the contract at all. This another thing, like that one of many first red flags that were popping up at NetEase. And sorry, but this is kind of turning into like the NetEase episode. I think it had to happen at some time. We've briefly talked about it here and there, but with more layoffs, it's just it's something that kind of needs to be out there, I think, because they've stayed under the radar pretty well on this stuff, but this has been going on for a while. And when I got in, the first thing was the relocation thing. I pushed back on that and basically let them know I won't be taking the job if they are forcing me to move to Tokyo, because it's, you know, if you get on the bullet train, it's not too far. It's like a 3-hour bullet train ride, but the bullet train, you know, that's quite expensive to do. A 3-hour commute is nothing to laugh at. It wasn't something I was going to be doing regularly. And I was very flexible about that. You know, I'm down to even come into the office like once or twice a month, you know, just to come in for important meetings. But yeah, they fought me on that, but eventually it seemed like they started to bend on that front, and like, okay, well, let's just go ahead through it. And I got the contracts, and the contract that I got, it was just a sloppy mess. I understand that it was a Chinese company, and English was not the first language, but they had given me a Japanese contract, which, you know, I had to get some help with too, since Japanese is not my first language. And when it comes to contract type dialogue, it's very high level Japanese, different from what I'm used to. Like, I'm used to speaking in a business type of environment, but contracts is more like legalized speak, you know. So the Japanese version of that was pretty intimidating, but even from just my ability to look at it right away, I could see that things were not right. Things were not making sense in Japanese. I had a couple Japanese friends look at it. They also confirmed, yeah, this doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it's just the Japanese is totally incorrect. I told them that they need to provide a English version of the contract before I was going to sign it, and they basically refused to do so. They said that they would not do that. I pointed out how the Japanese was not correct, and I need to know what I'm signing. So again, you know, there was one person, you know, we're not going to name any names in any of this today, but the HR person that was trying to help me get in on the NetEase side was really irritated with me and got pretty nasty. I won't go into everything, but there was some personal details that I had divulged in the interview process, and she went around and actually spread that around the office. My agent caught that because she had connections within NetEase, and she, let me know that the agent was divulging some personal details, or the HR person was divulging personal details, and while she was complaining about how I wouldn't sign the contract that was all messed up. So I got attention of more of those executives that I was talking about, the people that I had gotten the personal guarantee and kind of felt like were really genuine at the time. And you never know. Maybe at the time, maybe they were genuine about it. But I got them on it. They did help me out with it. I never got my English contract, but I did get a promise from them that we would find a way to make it work out. So I went ahead and signed with them, and I kind of just went into a wait mode. They told me that, our team is new in Japan here. We don't have a lot of stuff set up. We've just moved to Tokyo, so just bear with us while we get things set up. And I probably waited a good, probably about a month and a half so of just sitting down, not doing anything every day. There was no work assigned to me at all. I started, at first I was pretty, persistent, we shall say, about checking in with people to see, like, hey, I'm on the clock now. We didn't use hours. I was salary based, but you guys are paying my salary here. What would you like me to do? Like, I can help you in a lot of ways. And for about a month and a half, they couldn't find anything for me to do at all. Let me get a little bit of water here. Still a little bit hoarse from last night's stream. We streamed until 4 a.m. last night. But yeah, they just couldn't find anything for me to do for the first month and a half. So, I figured, well, they're getting set up. It's, these things happen. So I just kind of sat on my hands for about a month and a half, waiting for something to do. Being persistent, keep continuing to ask for something, and I got to the point where I could tell that they were kind of getting annoyed that I kept on asking, so I took a hint and I just kind of waited around. But at one of the big things during the hiring, they were very interested in my team that was in Osaka. They really wanted to know the team size. They wanted to know what type of people I had been training, and they wanted to know if those people would be interested in joining NetEase, at a higher salary. And as it was the case with Ubisoft, where we were kind of losing all of our key people, as I had mentioned, we had brought in a lot of top tier talent. Ryan Peterson was one of them. He had actually already gone back to Call of Duty at that point. He got a job back at Raven again. So we lost him. We were in danger of losing a lot of other people. We had a really good character artist named William Bowser. He also was thinking about taking off. So a lot of our top talent was on the way out. So I thought it might be a good opportunity to kind of save a lot of those people's careers and kind of give them the pay boost that they need. And like, if we really did have somebody who was going to back us financially here in Osaka, then it would be a good thing for everybody. So I did proceed to, on their request, reach out to a lot of team members who were unhappy and see if they were interested in coming over. And I did end up bringing over, I think, probably about five or six people total from Ubisoft onto the newly formed NetEase Osaka team, because, as I said, they said that it would hire me locally, but then they decided to not hire me locally and wanted me to move to Tokyo. When I refused and threatened to walk, they said, okay, we'll do remote work from Osaka. They were still interested in all the people, but all the people here were in the exact same situation that I was. They couldn't handle a move to Tokyo, especially on their Ubisoft salaries. So I made it clear to them that anybody that would be joining from Ubisoft would be here in Osaka and not in Tokyo. And, we're open to coming to Tokyo whenever you need us there, but we are based here, which they agreed to at the time. So we went forward with that. But things progress from there, and then we kind of come into like some of the stuff I really still can't talk about because it's under NDA stuff. But I did get to work on some AAA projects that are in development here in Japan. I added my people to those as well. There were good things and there were bad things about those projects, but one of the consistent bad things that I do feel comfortable saying is NetEase just kind of seemed like they were kind of mentally checked out from everything. They were just kind of running around in circles. They were really concerned about getting artists assigned, our NetEase artists, the ones, like basically an internal outsourcing. They were more concerned with, instead of supporting those Japanese development studios, they wanted to basically upsell those Japanese developers, which is part of NetEase already, but they have their own budgets basically. They wanted to upsell them art services from inside of NetEase, and that's the part of the team that we were in. I was not too happy to see these tactics, but I figured, this is what I signed up for, so I'm on their side. I'm going to do the best to kind of make like a poster child team of like, hey, these are the type of people we have for our art services. If the Japan-based AAA projects, like, let's get some of these people in here, and let's also, make some good AAA games together. Because they did have some real talent on the Japanese side. They just didn't have a lot of staff. They were mainly hiring like key people that would manage things and run departments, but a lot of the on-the-ground people they didn't have access to. So it seemed like it might be a good fit to have NetEase come in for that, but it was just complete chaos. We had so many things were wrong at NetEase. Like for example, I won't drop his name, but we had a really, really talented developer come in for a totally different team, not a team I was attached to, but he had been in talks for at least a year about moving to Japan for this NetEase position. It would have been out of the Tokyo office, and the talks went on for over a year. He was basically hired. They hired him, they did paperwork, and they were working on bringing him over and getting his visa, and there was just months of like no contact, and it came to a situation where he was on a plane ready to come over here, and NetEase still didn't even know who he was for the most part, because people that had hired him had already been fired and laid off and moved on to other projects. So he actually had to show up at the NetEase offices and walk in and announce himself, who he was, and the fact here, I actually do work here now. What do you guys want me to do? He had all his belongings had to be stored at NetEase. It turned out because of this, because he had no place to live. He couldn't get an apartment here because NetEase had not done the proper paperwork to get him the things he needs to have an apartment. They're really strict here about having the proper paperwork and ability to rent an apartment if you're basically just here short term. And NetEase hadn't done the paperwork properly, and he was kind of in a situation where he might have been stuck in Japan without a place to live. All his boxes just stored in some of the empty offices in NetEase. I jumped in because he was a mutual. I didn't know him, but he was a friend of a friend. I got the attention of a lot of the executives that I knew and told them that this was going on, and this is really a bad look. This is not a good first impression for somebody as talented as he is. got a little bit of attention on it, but like it was a grind. Like I'm talking like every day trying to reach out to these people and make sure that he was being taken care of and not just left here without a place to live. Eventually it did get worked out. He ended up getting his own place. He kind of had to settle for whatever he could get into, which is not ideal, because of the fact that, you know, you have to have certain paperwork and meet certain requirements, and if your company's not supporting you, you can't get into the where you want to live. So he ended up having to live just wherever he could get in. And it was just another in the list of things that were going on at NetEase. And yeah, it seemed like for a while things were going pretty good, at least with the Japanese projects. It was exciting working with some Japanese developers, really big people like they used to run the Resident Evil, Biohazard, Devil May Cry franchises. I ended up being like kind of like the first man in the door, as far as the person who went in and tried to basically sell them on the NetEase internal outsourcing that we wanted them to do. And you know, my goal was to be as genuine as possible and just like look at the problem and see where we could help them out. But it turned out that with NetEase, it was kind of like an internal bait and switch type thing, where looking back at it now, I can see what the con was, but at the time it was kind of hard to realize. The team that they built here with me and all my people in Osaka, that was kind of like just a Trojan horse kind of to get in good with these developers. Put a lot of names that have a lot of experience in front, and then once you start selling the internal studios on this, you pull those people out and then basically swap it in with a bunch of external outsourcing houses in China that are way cheaper than what it would cost to make things here with our teams. And then you bill the studio for prices that would be attached to people like me that have like a lot of game development AAA experience. So it was a whole bait and swap type thing, and it felt really bad. It did not work out. The Japanese studios were, they caught on really quick to it. I may have made some recommendations too that certain things should be handled in-house and not outsourced, but we did I tried to find a solution that was mutually beneficial to the Japanese company that, I kind of started feeling a part of at the time, because we were working in person. I was going into their office weekly to meet with them, and something good for them and also something good for NetEase, where they can actually get some artists assigned to the project and we can start getting through things. It did not work out. The NetEase was super slow to respond on everything. They just always seemed like they went into meetings not knowing, no preparation at all, not knowing what we were talking about. They had to use a translator, which is not their fault. It's a Chinese company, so but a lot of times the translation was just not good. We couldn't have conversations that worked well. I was the one doing most of the translation between NetEase in Tokyo for these projects and the Japanese developers. So I was like the middleman between them. So we started making some progress that way, and just kind of ignoring having the translators in the room, because a lot of times my Japanese was higher level than theirs were. So we'd have situations where we'd have a translator come in, the Japanese staff would start to kind of get annoyed that time is being wasted and we can't understand what the person's saying. I'd jump in and I'd kind of take over the role. So I was wearing many hats, you might say, at the time. But I don't know, in some ways it was kind of exciting, because it was like, a challenge for sure. I've never done that much game development in Japanese. We used Japanese sometimes at Ubisoft Osaka when we were dealing with coworkers who didn't speak English, but they did, from up above me, they did have a push that we should be trying to learn English so we can interact with the San Francisco studio. But Yeah, things were starting to look okay for a little bit, and then we even got to the point where they were going to make NetEase Osaka official thing. We were going to get office space. I went personally to go shop for office space in the Honmachi area. No NetEase people came with us. It was just us and, well, I guess an HR person did come to kind of tell us what the money side of it was, what our budget was, and things like that. But we toured some office space. It looked like we were going to get set up, and I think that could have gone in a good direction. But right about that time, there seemed to be some internal stuff going on at NetEase that I wasn't aware of. I'm still not aware of exactly what happened, but basically there was a money faucet, and the money faucet was basically turned off. One thing I do know is that they were really banking on a lot of investment from those Japanese studios on, hey, check out this team of artists we have. Now let's replace those artists with a bunch of outsourced studios of varying quality in China, and then take the difference between that. So it was kind of a con to begin with, but it seems like because that didn't work out, there seemed to be a sudden okay, the money faucet is off, we're going to stop hiring. We had some hires in process at the time. One of them was William, who's been on stream before. He's doing a lot of Sonic fan art stuff right now. We were going to try to bring him in as a character artist. For some reason, they made him do an environment art test. Worked him for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then told him, no, we don't need anybody. Just wasting everybody's time. Things were getting pretty annoying, and that's about the time that the work stopped. I was removed from the AAA project that I was on. It seemed like it was kind of just like, and I noticed this a lot while I was at NetEase, but it was kind of just a blame game everywhere you went. It was whoever's up here is blaming exactly who's below them. Who's ever there is blaming who's exactly below. And it just kind of trickles down, and it's just a blame game, shifting seats, people coming in and out, people going to different companies, and eventually that was shifted towards our team. We had quite a bit of results to show, so it was really hard for them to do, because we actually, we're making stuff in Engine and really making a big impact. Just me and my small team here in Osaka specifically, without much help from the NetEase side of things, just because the Japanese staff was hesitant to put them in. The Japanese staff trusted us more than they trusted NetEase. So we were able to get some stuff done, some prototyping and stuff done, and that was going pretty well. So it was hard to put the blame on us, but the blame did get shifted on me and my whole team at one point, and we basically were told we're not hiring anymore. And that's when the big exodus started. There was rumors of layoffs coming through. I had started to hear things that whole departments were being cut, executives were being fired. Just kind of across all NetEase things, everybody was getting laid off, and that has continued. It did come to my department. It would have been about this time last year. A little bit earlier. It would have been like December of the year before, so December of 2023. This started to happen, and luckily, labor laws in Japan were our saving grace, because they basically started talking to us, and we'll say very aggressively suggesting that we retire because they didn't have the ability to lay us off due to Japanese law. And they were trying to do a lot of things without checking with what the laws were here currently, because they are a Chinese company in Japan, but they also didn't really do the due diligence to figure out what the local laws were. So a lot of things popped up really quickly where I had to get a labor law attorney involved and inform them of what my rights as somebody who is a resident of Japan, what my rights working here are. Because if I'm working in Japan on a visa, I have the same rights that a Japanese worker does. And a lot of the people they were trying to lay off were Japanese employees as well. My team here in Ubisoft Osaka, people in the Tokyo office, for example, the guy that I told you almost got stranded with no home here because of them. You know, he had uprooted everything from America to move here for this job, and then just months later, they were hanging him out to dry too. I was one of the first people. It seemed like they went after the higher salaries first, and I was one of the first people that officially got the talk that, hey, we would like you to retire. I basically told them no. I told them these have been my performance reviews. My performance reviews have been excellent. I have it all documented. I have, you know, stuff with the Japanese studio that I can show that has gone well. During the performance evaluations, I got, you know, really good grades. So you have no right to basically ask me to leave. And that's we got into a game of chicken basically at that point. Every single week, they would call me into a room, and so at this point they had completely cut off my work. I was a salaried employee, so I was still getting paid every week, but if I was in the Tokyo office, this would have been really bad, because I would have been required to come into work every day, sit at a desk, and they wouldn't have given me anything to do. And at this point, you know, I was trying to make the best of a bad situation, and I told them I'm willing to help out on other projects. Just give me, you know, another project to work on. And they just kept on giving me excuses of that, you know, oh, we don't have any projects to put you on. We think it would be best if you moved on. And, you know, I sat around and pretty much did nothing. Not pretty much, I did nothing at all for NetEase for... I had a demand based on the level of my position, because I was an environment director and art manager, and art manager sounds like kind of a lower title, but within NetEase, art manager is a pretty high up title. You kind of you're in the loop on a lot of things. It's a very high level position. I basically told them that, you know, I want 1 year's salary before I'm moving on. If you give me 1 year's salary, I'll sign your documents and I'll retire. Which they told me no. At first, they told me that they were only going to give me 1 month, which was total BS. You know, for the situation they had put me in. Of course, you got to remember too that working here in Japan, I'm still using the visa that Ubisoft created for me, but you know, I need to stay working. If I'm not working, that means that I can't stay in the country. So to make a long story short, I basically told them this is the line in the sand. Either pay out or I'm not leaving. I'm just going to continue to draw a paycheck, or you guys can give me some more work and we can, you know, make this work out. They refused to do so. I was pressured every single week. They got very aggressive. The HR people that were very nice and cordial at first became very aggressive and saying a lot of really mean and hurtful things in a meeting every single week. Did this for quite a while, gave me a lot of gray hair. Part of the reason why I actually needed to reach out and start talking to a therapist, because I was so infuriated. I found myself so angry every day, and because I felt like I was being wronged, and the team that I had brought here was also in danger. So I felt a lot of responsibility for that, you know, having these people leave their what I thought was a stable job. You know, later Ubisoft would close down, so maybe they kind of dodged a bullet there, but they just dodged one bullet to walk into another with NetEase. Yeah, it was a really stressful time. This went on for 6 months. 6 months later, I realized that I had been drawing a paycheck for 6 months, and I really hated being around anything NetEase. Looking at the NetEase logo was enough to make me sick. So I told them, give me 6 months salary and we'll call this done. And they did take my offer at the time. I was also promised that I would walk away with stocks that I was promised as part of my joining bonus, 2 years of stock that I was supposed to receive. They reneged on that. They, at the last second, they pulled that out of the contract without me noticing. So lost quite a bit of money on that, but I was done with NetEase. But after that, it's just been constant. Every single week, I think I hear of another person that I know being laid off by NetEase across all different studios. The one studio that I thought would have been safe from this was Marvel Rivals, because of like the breakout success of this. I mean, nobody can argue how well this game is done. I still have had a hard time playing it. I haven't played it yet. I didn't install it on my PS5 because I'm a huge Marvel fan. I know this is done by a really talented team that, they were probably in a situation like I was, where they were kind of probably tricked into the whole thing. And obviously they could put out a game that proves that they're amazing developers, and probably made the best of a bad situation, I would guess. I didn't know anyone on the Marvel Rivals team, so this isn't inside info or anything like that. This is just my experience with NetEase, applying that to what their situation probably was there. But yeah, now the layoffs have started for Marvel Rivals. I still have never gotten around to play it because, like I said, I've kind of think I've gotten over the whole NetEase thing. No joke, it gave me a lot of gray hair. It was not a fun time. Bit of a dark time as far as my mood. I think getting into tennis really helped me a lot to deal with all the stress that was being caused by that. Because it's not only a job, but it's my ability to stay in Japan, where Yuki is, where she is going to college and can't really move right now. So it was a really stressful time. I did finally find a position to get into. A huge pay cut, about a half pay cut again. So I dropped way down from what I was before. And I had to take a Art Outsource Management job, which, is a great studio, great people. I love the studio, but the role is very different. I'm kind of a little bit even more hands-off than I was when I was in leadership. So made the best of a bad situation. Still doing that now. I am starting to think about my path forward. Obviously, there's the streaming stuff that I'm doing here. That may factor into it someday, but it's not any day soon. I'm going to be working in the industry here for a long time to come. If the streaming stuff works out later, then it works out, and that will be a nice supplement to my income. Maybe someday, if the game industry gets bad enough, which things are not improving recently, maybe that will be a replacement, and I finally will call my whole game dev career work complete, as it says in the title of my logo and stuff. That's, if anybody wonders, the game dev peon, work complete with a question mark. That's what that's all about. That's this isn't something that I'm committing to as a full-time thing now, but maybe someday. The ball is in your court. If you guys like the type of content I create, maybe someday this will become a full-time thing. I'm still putting full-time energy into it right now. I'm kind of running myself dry right now. I've definitely been keeping pretty late hours, and there hasn't been a time since I started streaming where I'm not working. I haven't done any of the just sitting down and relaxing. I've taken a couple hours here and there to play a little bit of World of Warcraft off stream, just non-important things that don't need to be filmed. But other than that, I haven't done anything. Yuki's been pretty busy too, so she's been coding a lot. So I'm all in on this, and this is just more evidence that of what my main feeling about the industry, I've talked to a lot of people recently. I have more friends right now out of work in the game industry than I have that are in work. And we're not talking about people that are right out of school. We're talking like industry veterans that have shipped some of probably your favorite games that you've played. The tentpole games that you see these big companies, touting as like the place to go play your games because we have these games. The people that are making those games, they're just being treated horribly for the last couple years. And a lot of it is just because game companies got really big during COVID because everybody was at home and a lot more engagement on that front. And executives got greedy, and executives doubled team sizes. They doubled projects. Where teams that were making one game were now making 2 games, and they upped the size of them. And now that COVID, is calmed down and people are back outside again, that infinite growth is just not there. And to appease the stockholders, what do? They just start cutting projects. They start cutting teams. They start, closing down whole studios. And as I said, the labor laws in Japan are much better. So this does, for a while at least, it has seemed like kind of a bastion of hope. You can come to Japan and, at least labor laws here protect you. But one way to get around that is to just close down the whole studio, because obviously if you're closing the studio, you're showing that financially it's not working. And that's what did happen with Ubisoft Osaka. So all of those people are now out of work. Some of them have landed, but it's a pretty rough market right now. There's just not a lot of people hiring. And this news is just infuriating, because you would think if there's anybody within NetEase that should be protected, it's the people that are making the game that is making NetEase a ton of money right now. So this is one of the posts here. Let's see, we'll turn down the music for a second while I read this here. So this is I think this is one of the creative directors, I believe. My director team, yeah. So Thaddeus Sasser here, he said, "This is such a weird industry. My stellar talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase games, and we're just laid off. Oh well, times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs, because we all need to eat, right?" And this is one of the things that, like, I think people that play games, you guys don't see this side of it very much, unless people like really good people in the industry, the news section of the industry, like Jason Schreier and people that kind of shine a spotlight on these bad behaviors of the companies. They try to bring it out to people, but I don't think it reaches a wide enough audience for just your casual gamer that plays Call of Duty every year. Well, it's like, look at the wall. I've shipped 3 Call of Duty titles myself, and I've been, when I worked on Modern Warfare, I was laid off in the 2018 Activision layoffs. Bobby Kotick literally quoted, and this is like as close as to a quote as I can get. There may be a word or two wrong, but he basically said in an investor call, he said, "This year's Call of Duty," and keep in mind, this is the Call of Duty of the year before, not the one I worked on, just a different one. "This year's Call of Duty has blown all our expectations out of the water, and it's the highest earning Call of Duty up until this point. But I still think we can do better. That's why today we're cutting 800 jobs." I was one of those 800 jobs. I had moved to LA. And yeah, if I sound a little bit mad, I'm mad about a lot of this stuff. It's been constant, just job to job, and it's wrecking havoc on people's resumes in the industry, and it's not their fault, and it sucks that people that tune in for Call of Duty every year but don't really follow the game industry don't know that the people that are bringing them those experiences are the ones that are on the chopping block. We're the ones that have to scramble to find work and start side gigs, like maybe doing YouTube or maybe doing Twitch. It's not a fun thing. And then there's also the side of it where these companies, they're very legal, and there's a lot of threats, especially when you're exiting a company, how you will not talk about anything that has gone on here. And we're not talking like projects and stuff. Of course, that makes sense, you know. You can't talk about projects that have not been released yet because, you know, it's better for that stuff to go off anyways when a planned reveal is there, so the game can look at its best when it's released. But no, we're talking about, like, you're not allowed to talk to people about the fact that we laid you off. We're not allowed to talk to you about the fact that you've been ignored for the past 6 months and you need to you know, scramble to find work just to stay in the country. We're being aggressive with you on a weekly basis, trying to make you and your whole team quit. These are the things that they don't want you to talk about. And I don't know if I'm being a little, I don't know, acting irresponsibly or what, but I'm kind of at my limit with keeping my mouth shut about it. I do not think that this can continue. The industry is kind of falling apart at this point. So many people are just exiting the industry for other ventures because, you know, like this guy says, you know, we're just laid off. Oh, well, these times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right? And the game developers, you know, they're so used to this at this point that they basically go into the mode of not taking care of themselves. They go into the mode of finding all their other coworkers work and trying to make connections and help each other out. I did the same thing with the Ubisoft layoffs. I immediately reached out to people, tried to find some connections that they could get leads on jobs. We all kind of help each other out, but there's just a kind of, you know, the above the developer level, when it comes to the executive level, it's just doesn't seem like any of the blame ever gets put at their feet. It's always laid on us, and I'm just really, really tired of it. It has made me think if I, you know, want to really continue in this industry. Yuki was studying 3D. She's putting it on hold a little bit for now, possibly because of some of the stuff that's going on right now. But yeah, she was studying 3D. She was interested in getting a game job, and, you know, I can't really recommend getting a game job to her right now. She found coding on her own, and I think coding is probably going to be a better solution because she can work outside of games if the industry does decide to continue to implode. But yeah, it's just a shame. Yeah, it really sucks. And there's more, you know, there's another guy, level designer. Hey folks, well, just got laid off from my job working at Marvel Rivals with NetEase. It was an enormous pleasure to work with my American coworkers who joined me in the sad calling. Just couldn't dodge the big boot, I guess. Yeah, big boot it is, no matter how big the success of the gig. Now I'm seeking a new role and would appreciate your support. So, you know, it sucks. All the wrong people are being penalized for this. Marvel Rivals is a huge success. This is just not fair. So sorry for kind of a ranty episode of Coffee Chat this morning, but from the time I heard about this last night, I was just really, really annoyed with it. I haven't heard of any numbers yet of how many people it is, but basically everybody I knew that worked at NetEase no longer works there. People from multiple departments, we're talking international departments too. They're all gone. I'm gone. NetEase just needs to get out of the game industry. In my opinion, they don't deserve to be here. That's just my personal. You know, I've held my tongue on this stuff for over a year now, and tried to be very, you know, we're not going to talk about that, but I just don't think they deserve a seat at the table with behavior like this. They don't care about the players. It's a shitty situation. Yeah, and there's more to come, I guarantee. I think some of the Japan projects are probably still going on here, but I would guess that they're probably on borrowed time too, because those were things that, you know, were a little further off. So those haven't even found success yet, where NetEase's Marvel Rivals has found success, a lot of success, and they're cleaning house. This is not from any information that I have. This is just 100% my own first guess. My own first guess is they intend to get this team out because the framework is there, and now we're going into skin mode where we're just going to add new characters. And my guess would be that NetEase thinks that they can find people on their side in China to do this at a cheaper price than it is to have an American staff there. So kind of more bait and swap to the players this time, high quality content made by trusted developers that do this well, and then a big swap of who's actually making the game. And that's nothing to say any shade at all towards any of the Chinese developers at NetEase. They're in the exact same position that we are, but even a worse situation because they have less protections. Some of the art that I saw coming from the Chinese developers was amazing. They're concept artists. They just have a Rolodex of amazing concept artists in-house that are there for use. The work that they do, the people that I worked with are super professional. But them too, there are people getting laid off. A lot of those people are no longer there. So don't lay this at the feet of the Chinese developers of NetEase. They're going through the same things that we are, just at a lower pay rate and with less protection. So this needs to be laid at the feet of NetEase's executives. My personal opinion, this is just me, the game dev peon talking. I think they need to get out of the industry. I don't need them draining any more talent dreams, you might call it, because people literally they're having their dream jobs taken away. They're not able to feed their family, and I think there needs to be more. We went into this a little bit on our mental health episode that I did a while back when we started Coffee Chat, but I think there needs to be more support for developers and their mental health, because you got to understand that especially, I assume women feel the same way, but if we're thinking old school style, there's the image of a man has to put food on the table for his family, and there's a lot of families now where it's the opposite, and that's totally cool too. And I assume that they feel the same way as well, which is if your method of feeding your family is suddenly taken away from you, it's a huge hit to your confidence. It's a huge mental thing. It's like going through a divorce when you get dismissed from a company or laid off, because one of the things at NetEase too was during the 6 months, I was not allowed to tell anyone on my team that I was being pressured to exit the company. That had to be. They threatened me with a lot of different legal clauses, saying that if I mentioned this to anybody, any chance of any type of a package would be gone. It was just a really messy thing, but yeah, this is what we're dealing with here. They don't want people to talk about it. I'm sick and tired of it. You never know if this comes back around and we have NetEase knocking on my door. I don't know if they're even still in Japan here. They may be exiting totally, but shitty place. I would have to say, don't support Marvel Rivals. It's just as simple as that. I like the MCU. I had it installed on my computer, on my PS5, because I wanted to at least take a look at it, because it's getting so much steam, and I could kind of separate it in my mind at that point that the development team of Marvel Rivals is not NetEase. It's a group of developers that were probably purchased by NetEase, and I could at least try to enjoy that game and see what that's about, since I'm a huge Marvel fan. I think somewhere in my mind though, I just kind of not today, and I've just put it off. But I'm going to uninstall it from my PC, from my PS5. I'm not going to play it. I don't think they should be supported. And that's the rant for today. So probably one of the more fiery episodes of Coffee Chat that we had. I don't even think I've really gotten a chance to drink my coffee here. Let me take a sip really quick. Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, so I'm going to try to recover with some coffee here. As I said, I've got some stuff going on. One of the reasons why I'm taking another chat with another game studio today is, like I said, I'm in another situation here where I feel like I'm a bit redundant. I'm at a studio that is amazing with amazing people and really cool projects, but I'm also an art outsourcing manager who's not outsourcing any art at all for the last couple months. So got to keep the family fed, and I'm feeling a little some of those warning signs, I might say. So I'm out there looking for new opportunities here, as it seems I will be for as long as I'm a part of the game industry. There's no such thing as a secure job in this industry, at least now. So I'm gonna continue to try to stick in there. If you're getting into the industry now, maybe don't. Sad to say, but maybe don't. Maybe not worth it. Maybe not the right time at this point until people are held accountable a bit more. But for the meantime, I'm going to be putting 100% of my passion, at least, into streaming on Twitch and YouTube, and trying to figure out how people are, supplementing their income with that, because I need a safety net. We need a safety net. We want to have kids. We have plans for the future. And it's just not safe to do that in this current situation. So, yeah, this has been Coffee Chat for today. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry for a bunch of rants, and most of all, sorry to all the people that just lost their job today at NetEase. Really sucks. Please, if anybody has any connections in the industry, reach out to the people at NetEase that just lost their jobs at Marvel Rivals. Great game by all accounts, so they need new homes. Please reach out and help them out. And I'm gonna go ahead and let the music take us out. I smell some food cooking downstairs. I think Yuki's making me something really tasty right now, so that'll cheer me up, I'm sure. Everybody have a good day. Here's somebody breaking glass outside. Oh, it's probably glass day outside. Japan's very strict on the recycling stuff. We have different days for different things. It's probably glass day. Yeah, definitely glass day. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it sounds like shattering glass outside. I'm gonna get going. I will be back tonight with some streams. It's probably gonna be a little bit later because I'm in a pretty bad mood right now from the news. I feel a lot of aggression right now, and I need to hit a tennis ball, I think. So I'm gonna add in an extra lesson of tennis tonight. I'm gonna go try not to hurt myself. I'm gonna smash the ball as hard as I can smash it to get this aggression out without hurting my back. So everybody have a good day. Try to stay employed. That's what we'll say. This is Game Dev Peon checking out here. Thanks for coming for the vibes and staying for the Zug Zug. Have a good one.